Imagine you were younger and you wrote two big goals in a notebook of yours: play in the NFL and become a neurosurgeon. For most people, that sounds impossible, but for one man, it became reality. From Saturday nights in Tallahassee playing for Florida State to performing brain surgery in an Orlando hospital, this is the story of Myron Rolle, the NFL player some scouts thought was too smart for the NFL. To understand Myron Rolle's incredible journey from the football field to the operating room, we have to rewind all the way back to 1997. At just 11 years old, one book would completely change the way he saw life. One of Myron's brothers gave him gifted hands, the Ben Carson story. Rolle dove into the autobiography recounting how Carson grew up from a poor background into a world-renowned neurosurgeon. At 33, Ben Carson became the youngest chief of pediatric neurosurgery in the United States at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center in Baltimore. Dr. Carson's story stuck with me, because not only was he very intelligent, but he was also Christian like I am, says Rolle. So inspiration to do something big with his life was instilled early on in Myron's life. Fast forward to his high school years, Myron had transferred to the Hun School of Princeton in New Jersey, and he didn't waste a single opportunity. Rolle was involved in the school in many ways. Not only did he maintain a 4.0 GPA, Rolle was also a sports editor in the newspaper and played in the school band. As for athletics, besides being a part of the track and basketball teams, he was one of the top recruits in the nation for football. ESPN's recruiting services ranked Rolle as the #1 high school prospect in the country, while Rivals.com rated him the top overall athlete. With 83 scholarship offers on the table, yes, 83, Myron had his pick of any program in the nation. Myron eventually chose the Florida State Seminoles because legendary head football coach Bobby Bowden had an excellent track record of sending players to the National Football League, as well as Florida State offering full support for Rolle's goals toward a career in both football and medicine. As a true freshman in 2006, Myron joined FSU during a little of a downswing in the team's history. Florida State would finish the season going 7-6, but Myron made the biggest impact on the team. 77 total tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss with 1 interception. This stat line won Rolle the ACC Freshman Defensive Player of the Year award, along with being named on the first team all-freshman roster. So his college football career was off to a great start. His freshman season is where he also learned a philosophy from defensive coordinator Mickey Andrews: strive to get 2% better at something each day. That 2% way, that's the ethos that I live my life by, taking small steps every day towards getting better and being a better version of yourself, says Rolle, whose autobiography, The 2% Way, was published in 2022. Small, incremental gains, once you add them all up, you realize how much progress you've made. It also feels like you won the day, if you're just able to get a little bit better. This would be the sayings that kept Myron striving for greatness. Sophomore season was a little bit of a step back in terms of stats. The Seminoles again finished the season with a 7-6 record. Rolle recorded 67 total tackles, 1.5 TFLs with a forced fumble. Sadly, no accolades this season for Rolle, but 2008 would have become bigger than he could have imagined. Probably the biggest opportunity arose in Rolle's junior year in 2008, but it wasn't on the gridiron. He had a chance to become a Rhodes Scholar. This postgraduate award allows international students to study at the prestigious University of Oxford in England. Rolle had made it to the final interview stage, and once his final interviews concluded, Rolle and 12 other applicants waited in an adjacent conference room for 2 hours. Then after 2 agonizing hours, committee chairman Drayton Neighbors Jr. called out Rolle's name. He was chosen to be a Rhodes Scholar, one of the oldest and most prestigious scholarship programs globally, and where only 2% of applicants actually get it. With all this great news, Rolle had another challenge shortly after the Rhodes Scholarship interview concluded. He had a game to play against the Maryland Terrapins some 800 miles away less than 3 hours later. By the time Rolle left from his charter flight and arrived at Byrd Stadium in College Park, Maryland, FSU led by 2 touchdowns late in the first half. When Rolle checked in with 1:30 left in the second quarter, Seminole fans in attendance gave him a rousing standing ovation. Rolle finished with 2 solo tackles in FSU's 37-3 rout of Maryland. He saluted the Seminole fans after the final whistle. Now for his total junior year on the football field, Rolle put up respectable stats of 62 total tackles, along with having 5 pass breakups, eventually earning him a 3rd-team All-American nod and 2nd-team All-ACC. 2008 also became a big year for Rolle, not only on the field, or for getting the Rhodes Scholarship, but that he graduated from FSU in just 2.5 years with a pre-med degree and a 3.75 grade point average. graduating magna cum laude as well. 2009 saw what we people call kind of a gap year. With Rolle accepting the Rhodes Scholarship, this meant that rather than entering the 2009 draft, he would skip football for a year, postpone entry into the NFL draft, and focus on getting his master's degree in medical anthropology. A big decision that he made as he was a projected early round pick for the draft. But for Rolle, the chance to study at Oxford was a culmination of years of hard work and an unyielding commitment to education. Rolle's decision was not a rejection of football, but rather an expression of his belief that his journey in life was not confined to one path. At Oxford, Rolle earned his master's degree in medical anthropology, and it was at Oxford that Rolle began to cultivate his passion for improving healthcare in underdeserved communities, and his desire to make a meaningful contribution to the world. With all that in mind, Rolle also didn't use this 2009 year to fully quit the NFL. When he wasn't studying, Rolle would train for the 2010 NFL Draft. Rolle said, "When my classmates were drinking at the pubs at 1:30 in the morning or traveling to different parts of the EU, I was working out, training, going to sleep, resting my body, making sure I was ready to compete." After Myron's time in England, he came back to participate in some football events. Myron was a part of the 2010 Senior Bowl and participated in the draft combine. He then put his name in the NFL draft pool, where he was selected in the 6th round by the Tennessee Titans. Rolle played in Tennessee for 2 years, but never appeared in a regular season game, as he was just assigned to the practice squad. He then spent a brief time in the Steelers organization on the practice squad as well, where he was released by the team in 2012, not seeing any action as well. He did have some spite from the NFL, saying, "They had this mindset that we're helping Myron. You don't need this sport, you're going to be just fine. One day, you're going to be a brain surgeon. I couldn't believe the sport I loved for so long was being taken away from me because I had other options once I was done playing." So that sat with Rolle for a good while. But then came the next year of 2013 with another big decision for Rolle in his timeline, as he officially retired from the NFL to pursue his dreams in the medical field. He went back to Florida State University to enter their medical school and graduated medical school in 2017. Then began his neurosurgical residency training at Harvard, Massachusetts General Hospital, finishing that in 7 years. Rolle would then do a 1-year pediatric neurosurgery fellowship at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in Florida, where Rolle now has become one of the attendings at Nemours Children's Hospital in Orlando. In this journey as well, Rolle started the Myron L. Rolle Foundation, which serves underrepresented populations in Orlando with a specific focus on child health, improved outcomes around head trauma, food security, mental health, civic engagement, education, and affordable housing. And looking back, he completed what his younger self set out to do. Myron Rolle was able to be in the NFL, and he is now a neurosurgeon. If you stop and think about it, Myron Rolle's story is the true meaning of success. What makes Rolle's story so powerful isn't just the impressive list of accomplishments, it's his choices along the way. He chose education when it could have been easier to stick with football. He chose medicine when he could have just continued living the life as a professional athlete. And every day, he uses his platform to inspire and uplift others. Myron reminds us that success isn't about staying in one lane or living up to other people's expectations. It's about listening to your inner voice, pursuing your passions, and finding ways to make the world a better place.
If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and hitting the bell notifications. Thank you.